to Living Passionately with Pat Brown. I am so excited to have Miss Carlotta Eversley-Gabriele, registered nurse, nurse leader, and nurse educator, to join us on Living Passionately this week. This week is Nurses Week, so happy Nurses Week to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And all the nurses that will be listening, thank you guys so much for all you do on a daily basis. I know the nursing field is changing so much, and it has been a difficult 3 years now. 3 years, yeah. You know, as someone with a staffing agency, and I have worked closely with nurses over the years, I do understand some of the challenges. So I really appreciate you coming out, taking the time today to speak with us. And again, thank you for all that you're doing out there as a nurse leader to guide and encourage these nurses today, because it must be challenging.
It certainly is. Well, I thank you so much, Miss Pat Brown, for all that you are doing. Thank you for spotlighting not just myself and nurses for Nurses Week, but spotlighting people in general. It's important that we take the time to do that. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you for having me, especially this week, Nurses Week. I am grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So tell me about you. How did you get started in nursing?
Oh my. So nursing, it wasn't one of my passion in the beginning. I actually wanted to be an attorney like my dad. Growing up in the Caribbean, my dad, he was an attorney, and then of course became a magistrate. And I always loved what he did with law. He's always stood for what is right. He always does what is right, not what was easy. Mm-hmm. And that give me a strong admiration for what he was doing. And I grew up seeing him in courtrooms, seeing him navigating the law. And, when I got an opportunity to come to the US, to be honest, the first thing I thought of is, how can I make some money? And I remember being told different things. And I said, okay, you know what? I will start off becoming a CNA. And the CNA, I figured, okay, I will get an opportunity to do some patient care and to see if that's something that I like. And then I will, navigate myself from there. To be honest, when I became a CNA, I loved it. I loved it. I loved the patient care part of it. I love being in a position where I can help and I can make a difference. So as I worked as a CNA for years, I said, okay, you know what? I have to really and truly, advance myself so that I can advance and add value to people. So I continue. I became a medical assistant. And after that, I worked as a medical assistant for years, actually, in New York. Okay. And I relocated, my husband and I, we relocated here to Atlanta, Georgia, where that is when the big love for continuing this nursing field started. And I remember going back to school, having young kids, was pregnant with one, having two babies, and it was difficult.
Yeah, those courses are not easy. So
yes. And I don't know what I was thinking, because I decided to do accelerated because I wanted to expedite the process. Mm-hmm. So I was taking 20 credit hours, being a wife, being a mother of two, and pregnant with one. And I wanted to just get through with it very quickly. But of course, that didn't happen, because during the course of that, so many things happened in the midst of me completing my nursing degree. And I almost failed. And I remember, going to my advisor. At that time, the advisor, you couldn't just quit from nursing school. You had to actually get permission to quit.
Really?
Yes, they made it in such a way that if you wanted to drop out of nursing school, you had to go to your advisor and have that conversation. And I remember going to mine and telling her that it was too much for me. And I was ready to quit, because I had the baby and he was sick and my dad was, but there's always going to be challenges along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember her telling me, she was very explicit, and she said, I am not going to put so much into you for you to give up now. Oh, wow. And I remember her telling me that, okay, you know what, just cry and get it over with, go home, get some rest, and I want to see you in class tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yes, she wasn't simple.
yeah, I mean, that
Yes,
was some good advice. It's really great, as I interview people to hear the challenges that they've been through. And then it
yes,
takes that one person that you connect with
that
that
we do.
encourage you to really push yourself and to continue. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
great.
And she is not only now she is not only now my very good friend, she is a mentor and she's my colleague. We
Oh,
both
wow.
are professors at one of the universities here in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
So I remember having that, and I remember coming home and feeling like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? But I
Mhm.
got up and I went back the next day, and I went back the following days, and of course I graduated, and I was really happy that I did,
Right.
because to be honest, many times along the way I felt I couldn't. And after I graduated, she said to me, she said, you got to go get your master's. She said, you're not going to stop here. She said, I see something in you,
Oh,
and
wow.
you are going to take this and you are going to make yourself better. And I used that opportunity to go back to school. I worked bedside for a while, but while I was working bedside in one of Atlanta's prominent hospitals, I've always been intrigued to be the change you want to see. So I
Mhm.
was always empowered to get into anything that is going to help with processes. I
Okay.
remember usually in the hospitals, they have these committees. I remember joining the committee so I can just be part of
Right.
processes and process change. And within a year, I became the president of that committee. And so every week we would get together and talk about how we can improve nursing. That has always been my thing: improving patient care,
Mhm.
improving patient outcome, and then working on how we can improve processes so we can have greater patient experience and outcome. And
Right.
I knew in order to do that, I have to get in a position where people will listen to me. So
Mhm.
I, of course, went back, I got my master and I graduated with honors, and I decided to work as a nurse educator, where I can be part of facilitating the processes when we bring in our nurses. What are they supposed to know? How can they better serve their patients? So
Right.
I worked as a nurse educator at one of Atlanta's top hospitals, worked there for years as one of their educators. And one of the things that I love about Grady is that it's a teaching hospital. So
Right.
everything that is learned there, we use it as an opportunity to teach other hospitals. So I
Right.
was in that process of really and truly working with a team. I went to different conferences where I spoke on and about the things that we were doing to improve our processes there. And then we started to teach other hospitals.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
of course, yes. And I decided to branch out from there as an educator, and I became a director of nursing, which, of course, planting myself in a position that will give me more influence. And
right.
because I started as a CNA and I worked my way up, I had a better opportunity to be able to effect change coming from a place of, I know what it is to be
Right.
a CNA, I know what it is to be a registered nurse bedside, and also as an educator, understanding what the needs are in
Mhm.
order for our processes to improve and us to be able to give great care to our patients, of course, which improves patient outcomes.
Right, right. And that I know that is so important to hospitals. I've worked in nursing administration, so I know about those outcomes and HCAP scores and everything that goes
Yes,
into it.
yes,
So yeah, it really, really takes a lot to make that happen. Really great that, you as a leader, that you started as a CNA and worked your
yes,
way up to leadership where you can really be part of other nurses that are growing in the field. So, what were some of the things that also that you were able to do, like say, encourage young nurses that are coming into the field? Because it is totally different now, right? There's a lot of changing. Right now, we have the great resignation going on in nursing. There's so
yes,
many nurses that, when you speak to them, they're burnt out. They want to work from home job. They want to do something different. And, sometimes I want to say, well, can you find that passion when you started out as a nurse? You were so happy to, take care of patients. You wanted to be a nurse. How do you like go back, or what do you say to them about finding that passion to stay at the bedside or to stay motivated right now as so many are contemplating? resigning from nurses because we need them.
Yes, we do. We do. And that is one of the reasons why I am in this position. And I've actually taken this position to work on not only creating opportunities so that I can raise awareness with organizations and have conversations with the stakeholders about how can we change nursing around. And I remember Florence Nightingale's passion for nursing was caring, that human-centeredness. And that is what I see that is lost. I actually am going to be speaking in New York about human-centered leadership in nursing. And I was doing lots of research. As an educator, I'm a researcher and I'm constantly looking at trends and looking to see what works and what doesn't. And the motto of the human-centered leader is actually putting people over profit. And I understand that profit is what drives us. But in a people-centered area, we have to make sure that people feel as though they are first. The same care, hospitals and organizations, there is this big push on patient experience. Patient has to feel valued. They have to feel important. They have to feel cared for. Why not do it for our people, our nurses, who are the ones that have to do all these things for your patients? I always believe charity begins at home. And when you give people what they need, they will in turn give you what you want and need. So let's us focus on ensuring that the environments we're creating for our nurses, we give them that feeling like we care. We give them that feeling like they matter. So we have to make sure that in everything that we do as leaders, we let them feel as though they care. And I guarantee you that will make a difference. There is just too much pull away from caring or showing that they care. Because I think there's a difference with caring and showing that you care. People have to feel it. Exactly. It's one of those things that, yes, it has to be. I have gone into organizations where they're saying, oh, we have to get a retention, lots of nurses are leaving and we have to turn this around. And I remember having a conversation with a CEO and I said, well, in order to do this, it called for some restructuring with leadership. We as leaders have to be able to help our nurses to feel and understand that they matter and they matter too. My motto is the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps is, people, process, and profit. And that is how I see things. And I believe if we do right by people and process, the profit will come. But a lot of times I feel as though there is this mass need for profit in a people-centered world. And that is why there is this conflict, because we are trying to make it about the profit instead of about the people. And Florence Nightingale, her vision was about caring about everyone, not just the patients that we care for, but the swords that are taking care of those patients that we need to care for.
Exactly. That is so important. And I think a big part of that is missing right now. They seem to just be that disconnect where leadership or the decision makers in hospitals, they're not really communicating that to these nurses or showing them that here. And that's all you hear, like they feel as though they're not appreciated. They're not motivated. They just go in and do their work. And I always feel like you give people what they want or show them that you care, you would get a lot more out of them.
Yes, I agree with you.
Than just making it all about profit. I used to be a leader in banking, and I understand it's the same thing. It's the customer service, but when you take care of your staff, the profits will come. And I don't understand why there is such a big disconnect going on with a lot of leaders. That's what you hear. And I know there's some that are really trying, and I see nurse managers out here online and trying to encourage people, but sometimes they're not getting the support that they
yes
managers either. So how can they pass that on.
And even with me, I have had so much experience because I've worked as director of nursing in different organizations. I've worked in hospitals, working in the university level where I am teaching nursing students. That is so fulfilling and rewarding, but it's also discouraging because when you're talking with these nursing students, they're of the impression that it's one of the worst profession, and to know that is where nursing has evolved to, it is sad, because nursing, if done the right way, it can be rewarding and great, profit sharing and all of these things, but it just has to be done a certain way. And I remember, and I worked in the prison. I worked at one of the largest women prison here in Atlanta, where we had over 1,800 inmates. And I remember for me, that was a challenge starting, because when I started, there was lots going on. Lots, the leadership team had left. So I had to go in there and I had to, get started with a team and so forth. But I remember when I got there, I realized that the nurses that was there, all they needed was somebody who cares. All they needed is somebody who would listen to them. And one of the things that I do in any organization that I go into, one of my first things, and I remember saying it as I'm doing my onboarding and I'm doing my SMART goals to myself. I am usually, I do my 90, my 30, and my 60 and my 90 days. And within my first 30, one of my goals is to know my staff in its entirety, know what their needs are, and let them know I am here to help. I am here to help you be successful in what you want to do. So I make sure to have one-on-ones. That is actually part of as I do my onboarding, I make sure to meet with each of my nurses and my CNAs, any staff that is reporting to me, so that I can better serve them. I am here to serve you so that you can be the best you can be to take care of our patients. And even after there is a change and I am no longer in that position, lots of times I am revered and I'm respected and I'm remembered because I came in and I made a difference. And lots of times, lots of organizations, they're expecting difference to look like improved profit, immediate return, improved profit. But to me, success is the ability to have a high morale, low retention, great patient engagement, patient experience that are wonderful. In the end of the day, that is what drives profit and success.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. Yes. So how can we get your message out here to the world and hope that, leaders are listening, and how do we reach them?
One of the things that I'm doing now, and I've started to position myself in rooms where I can speak of these things and I can have conversations with stakeholders and the C-suiters, I call them. I'm actually speaking in New York at a Women's Expo, and I'm speaking on human-centered leadership. And I'll be speaking in Spain in October, and I plan on making it about the nursing and nursing leadership. And hopefully, as I continue to have the conversations to raise awareness, then the message will be louder and clearer. Because sometimes in order to get things out there, we have to be that one to disrupt the status quo. Yeah. And, I always remember my dad. My dad, he stood for something. And that is what I want to be. I want to be known. And anyone who knows me, and my kids can tell you this, it doesn't matter how much you're paying me. I mean, I've been well up in the six figures. If your vision and mine is not aligning because I see nursing one way and you have a different vision, I would respectfully bow out. I will not compromise my integrity. I will not compromise who I am, what I'm about, in order for me to get an extra dollar. I wouldn't do that. So, I
make those hard decisions. Definitely.
Yes.
It doesn't align. Yes. I totally agree. Yeah. Been there. Yes.
And having those conversations, I'm out there and I'm having a conversation. I'm working on, I was asked to consult at a new upcoming nursing program here in Atlanta. And I'm meeting with the CEO and the president of the school once a week, and I'm giving some ideas. And I am focusing more on some things that can help benefit their students. So the students could come out there with grit and tenacity so that they wouldn't run as the first sign of trouble, because there is a lot going on. But I do believe, like with everything else, if we stick together, we hold one voice, we can make a difference. And nursing is not what it is now. That's not what it's supposed to be. And we should, as nurses, as nurse leaders, just get out and be able to and stand up and say, you know what, this is not acceptable. We would not accept this. We deserve better. Florence Nightingale's vision was about caring, and it's not just caring for the patient, it is caring for the people that are taking care of the patient.
Exactly, exactly. You're so on point. I greatly, greatly appreciate you coming out and sharing. I can feel your passion here about
yes,
this.
yes,
So,
I am. Thank you.
yeah,
I really am.
yeah, definitely. So that is really awesome. And I really, really hope that, you're able to get your voice out here, that this video goes viral and it gets to the right people, because going to nursing school is not easy.
It's not.
And for nurses to be retiring, young nurses that are frustrated, and we have a lot of people that the baby boomers are retiring right now.
Yes, yes.
So the shortage is going to continue and gets worse if we do not make changes right now. Not changes for the next 5 years, but we need to make changes today that really improve these nurses' retention and really make them feel appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I'm really looking forward to hearing more about you and what you're doing.
Yes, I certainly will keep you abreast.
Yes, please do. Yes, definitely. And again, happy Nurses Week, and thank you for all you're doing. Continue with that passion and integrity that your dad imparted on you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. And thank you so much, Miss Pat, for even having the platform. And this is how change happens. Change happens when one person decides to speak out and have conversations like you and I are having and raise awareness so that people can understand that we can do better and we will do better. We just need to get it out there. So thank you for that platform. I'm going to refer some other people to you so that they can speak of the things and you can get it out there also. Thank you for doing that.
So much. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much. And to subscribers and viewers that are listening in for the first time, you can get more information about Carlotta
Eversley-Gabriele on my LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn, definitely you can find her there. Yeah, reach out to her for more information and for consultation services. I'm sure that she can help to guide you along your nursing career, and even as a leader out here in healthcare, you can also to her for consultation. We are happy to put our heads together and work with you for a better nursing outcome, not just patients, but now we need to look at the nurses and what we can do to make it better for them. So thank you for viewing. Remember to subscribe, like, and please share this video because we need to get the word out. So share. Thank you guys for watching.